This is Escape Reality Star Wars Talk. We are not at our usual studio location this week. We had to change some things around. This week we are at my place. For those of y'all who watch some of my Twitch streams, y'all will recognize the background a little bit. You got some of my Star Wars books here, and in fact, right about here is some of the stuff we're going to be talking about next week.
Yeah.
Truthfully, I've already pulled them out. So there's that. We got some news as well as our review. But you know what? We should probably introduce ourselves for those that are new.
For those of you who are new,
So I'll let you go first.
I'm Seth. I am the co-host of the show alongside Caleb. Caleb runs the production and technical side. He essentially does everything. I am just someone to talk to and review the games or books. What happens with that? We try and do one thing per week.
Yeah, that is correct.
One big thing. And the rest of the time it's news and such. We'll go and review it. Mostly what that is him telling it to me and me giving my thoughts on it.
Yes. This week, though, in one of the biggest pieces of news, I guess, and we can kind of talk about that now, is they released a schedule for Star Wars Celebration.
Yes.
Now, neither of us are going to go there physically. I've discussed this with a lot of our friends within the Star Wars creator community. A lot of them are going, but we are not, unfortunately. But we are going to be watching from home still, because obviously we got to talk about whatever's coming out. And so, some of the bigger pieces of news is, let's go ahead and pull that schedule up, actually. Let's see. I know for sure Thursday we're getting one of our big panels for the TV shows, right?
Yeah.
And it's just for all the shows. It's let's see. They're calling it Lucasfilm Studio Showcase, and that's where they're gonna talk about all of the live action stuff. So we got Obi-Wan, Andor, and the Mandalorian that are gonna be the three things that they've listed as being discussed, and so that's kind of the main topics. I know a lot of people that are excited. I know a couple people that are excited for Andor and to hear what's going on with that, since we don't know too much yet. We know it's pretty much done filming, and we know it's coming out this year, but we haven't had a trailer or anything for it yet. And so,
yeah.
As far as that goes, is there anything in particular that you're excited to hear about from that? I know Obi-Wan, it's going to be weird because we're talking about it Thursday, but I mean Friday we'll have already. Then the next day we'll be watching the first episode. Because they moved Kenobi to Friday for the first episode.
Okay.
Because it was supposed to be Wednesday, but I'm assuming they moved it to Friday specifically so that for this purpose, so they could hype it up a little bit more. Is there anything in particular on that you're excited about, or do you want to kind of just go further into the...
I can't wait to see it, but...
It's not exactly your...
Yeah, right now. For context, we got up at 8.
Yeah.
Dealt with some stuff before we could actually get...
Lego Star Wars to run, which we'll talk about. We'll talk about that when we get to the review. Trust me, I'm gonna get there.
I remember I read this stuff earlier.
Yeah.
And then I forgot about it.
Yeah. And so we also have the Lucasfilm Publishing on Thursday, where they're going to go over the adult novels all the way to the kids' comics. So Del Rey, Dark Horse, Marvel, Lucasfilm Press, all of that's going to be part of that. So that's where we're going to hear a lot about what... more about what's coming out of High Republic all the way to, the current sequel era. And so we're getting a lot of that. I'm kind of just going over the highlights of stuff that I'm really excited about. I mean, we also got an Ian McDermott panel, collectibles panel. Here we go, High Republic for Light and Life. Let's see, and that's going to be with all the authors that are currently involved.
Mm.
So you've got Claudia Gray, Justina Ireland, Daniel Jose Older, Kevin Scott, and Charles Soule, along with a couple of Lucasfilms, James Waugh and Michael Siglin, where they're going to talk about a lot of what's coming up for Phase 2 of High Republic, currently titled Quests of the Jedi. And also, on a note of Charles Soule, while we're kind of just talking about news, they also made Charles Soule a what was the role they gave him? Creative something. He's now a creative consultant,
All right.
so he got a little bit of an upgrade, which is I think that's good. Charles Soule is like one of the best of the best. I mean, we've also got Claudia and a few others that we could put in that list. But Charles makes sense to put up there. I mean, he's given us one of the best Darth Vader comic book runs. He's given us. I'm pretty sure he worked on the mainline Star Wars comic too for a bit. He's. I mean, and then of course he wrote the first of the High Republic books, and so he gave us Light of the Jedi, and I mean, there's a lot to look forward to regarding that. Yeah, so, he did the Rise of Kylo Ren comic, which you haven't read yet, but I highly suggest to our audience. Eventually he's going to get to it, but...
Eventually.
So, which is kind of the story of Kylo Ren becoming... It's where those images we were talking about earlier actually come from. It's from that comic. He also, worked on Obi-Wan and Anakin, Lando comic, Poe Dameron comic. He worked on the War of the Bounty Hunters. Because everybody did.
Yeah.
A
lot of work for the War of the Bounty Hunters. That's definitely true.
And so, he's working on Crimson Reign, which is the next arc of that. He wrote the Eye of the Storm comic, which you haven't read yet, but we're going to get to, because that's part of the High Republic era, so we'll get to this season. And so making him a creative consultant is good, because then for live action shows or for whatever TV shows they're working on, they can call him in and he can help, especially since we know the Acolyte is supposed to be near the end of the High Republic era. So having him involved is good. Going back to the celebration schedule, that moves us into Friday, where we've got the Summer of Lego Star Wars, which has the games and animation team. So maybe we'll get a look into this year's specials, because I bet they're going to do some Lego specials like they did with the Halloween and holiday special. They probably got more of those lined up. Maybe we'll get some more DLC. I would like some story DLC, because Lego games are not completely, they've had story content editions before. Usually most of their DLC is characters, but they have done whatever they call mission DLCs or whatever. So it would be nice for that. I know that it's called the Skywalker Saga game, but they've already added, for the extra characters, they've already added Mandalorian and Clone Wars and stuff like that. I would like some content around that. I would like maybe a Rogue One, or if you want to keep it within the Skywalker, like a little bit closer to the Skywalker Saga, you could do a solo story content, because that's still within the Skywalker Saga. I'd argue Solo is more Skywalker Saga than Rogue One. Although Rogue One is definitely important to the Skywalker Saga, because it's
nothing gets done if
that film don't happen. If that film doesn't go the way it does, then the rest of the series doesn't happen really.
It just ends at episode.
Yeah. And then Friday we go back into Lucasfilm Publishing again. This one is for the nonfiction stuff, behind the page. So that's where we're going to get some of the books that I've been reading lately. So like the visual dictionaries and stuff like that, and art books, and which I do plan to get the art book for the High Republic because that's coming out, and that they're also doing a timeline book that's going to have a comprehensive timeline.
Okay. That's good.
Um,
Hey, can I borrow that?
um, and then of course, since it's the 20th anniversary of Attack of the Clones, and that's one of the main themes of this year's celebration, one of the other panels is the 20th anniversary celebration. And then we got a merchandise sneak peek. We got a making of Tales from Galaxy's Edge. So that's probably something Sky would like because that's the VR stuff. Got a Hasbro panel. We got a Disney Park panel. So it looks like that's going to go over Galaxy's Edge, the Star Cruiser, and the Hyperspace Lounge, which is the actual Disney cruise thing that they're doing. Whereas the Galactic Star Cruiser is the resort. It's the hotel that you can stay at. But it's being treated kind of like you're on a cruise within the universe. Whereas Hyperspace Lounge is the actual, you're on the Disney cruise. Let's see. Looks like they're doing a celebration of D23, which is going to focus a little bit on Star Tours. Oh, sorry. It's a celebration of Star Tours presented by D23, so the the official Disney fan club. Because Star Tours has been around for 35 years. Then they got a tabletop games panel, which that I'm interested in.
Yeah.
That's probably not one that they're probably going to stream, unfortunately.
Atomic Mass games.
Yeah, certain ones they stream. Not every single one gets streamed. This doesn't seem like one of those. That's probably one where I'll have to find some footage after the event, because usually somebody will film it while they're there. But yeah, we'll see Atomic Mass games, Fantasy Flight games, and Z-Man games. Which Fantasy Flight and it's moderated by Asmodee's. I know it's Asmodee because somebody has corrected me. Asmodee's Justin Bolger, which Asmodee makes sense because they're the ones that own the rights to the tabletop games, and Fantasy Flight is owned by them. And
I see. You explained this to me off camera before about how convoluted it is.
Yeah, and technically Fantasy Flight doesn't own the rights to the Star Wars to make Star Wars tabletop anymore. But since Asmodee still owns it, they gave it to a different in-house studio that's one of their subsidiaries. And they're still they've basically decided for now they'll just reprint the Fantasy Flight system for RPG books. I think Fantasy Flight is still allowed to do the X-Wing and Legion right now. I think some of their other games are dead though. But we'll probably learn a lot more about what's coming up regarding that. And it looks like they said, and it says that we'll get some behind the scenes stuff. So we'll probably hear what's in the works. And then we got a audiobook panel.
Oh yeah.
So this is.
Think they'll.
This looks like it's more focused on audio dramas, not audiobooks, because the two immediate things they mention are the Dr. Aphra audio, which the Dr. Aphra and the Tempest Runner, which is High Republic, and those aren't. It says audiobooks, but those are really audio dramas.
Yeah, I can see that.
And then because there is a slight difference, it's a presentation thing. They're presented kind of like plays, but for audio. So audio drama, which I'm excited for Tempest Runner when we do that. I'm going to make sure that you get to listen to that one and not have to read that one. I have the book. I have the physical copy, but it's a script, which once again proves it's audio drama, not an audio book. So I think that one will be fun to actually listen to because they got a full cast and, so that'll be fun. Which it says that's going to be moderated by Penguin Random House. executive producer Nick Martorelli, who I know works on a lot of the Star Wars books.
All right.
So that brings us to Saturday. So we're halfway through the weekend. We get a Mando panel with Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni. That one says it is going to be streamed. Okay, yeah, so it shows us which ones are streamed, actually. So let's see what we missed on the other ones that are being streamed. The Attack of the Clones one is being streamed. And the Lucasfilm Studio Showcase one. So far, those are the three that are being streamed. So those are the three that we'll get to see off the bat, which that makes sense. Those are your big headliners, so it makes sense that those are the ones that everybody sees. It's unfortunate that the High Republic one's not being streamed, but I get it. I get it. It's not a show. It's not a movie, so it's not.
Yeah.
It's not something that
They're not
anybody outside the hardcore fans are going to want to see streamed. Although I'd argue this is for the hardcore fans. I know a lot of people that really care about Celebration outside of the hardcore fans.
Yeah, so maybe.
Let's see, and then following that, they got a behind the scenes on Mandalorian and Book of Boba Fett one. That one's not being streamed. Got the cosplay competition. Obviously, that one's not being streamed. Got the Star Wars Hunters panel, the next video game that's coming out. That one's been delayed before, so I'm excited to hear what's going on with that and if it's nearing release, because they never gave us a new release date. It was supposed to already kind of be out. And it's kind of a Star Wars Overwatch.
Okay.
4v4.
It's a team-based shooter.
Team-based, yeah. Team Fortress 2, that type of game, where you have certain characters that have certain roles, and you've got different types of games, obviously, you can do, so it's not just shooting. It's not just, so just like any other 4v4 type game like that. I'm interested to hear about that. That one's not being streamed, unfortunately. And then this is one that has been in the rumor mill for a while. Tales of the Jedi. So they confirmed the show because so I can't remember if we talked about it on the show, but there was a leak of an image and a little bit and a somebody found Tales of the Jedi within the not copyrights but trademarks.
Yeah.
The registered trademarks, because when you register a trademark, that's public information. Somebody can look that up. So people can see what you've named something when you put it in the trademarks. That way, and that's really for people to make sure that they're not, accidentally copying somebody's trademark.
Yeah.
But it's also useful in regards to news like us looking things up and saying, oh, this is a trademark. Speculate, a little bit of speculation game. What are they doing? Now, a lot of people thought, oh, well, maybe they're finally making Tales of that era canon. So that's not confirmed, but what they have confirmed is that it's another anthology series. It's an animated anthology shorts collection, so it's going to be kind of like Visions. But this might be... Was it you who mentioned... Somebody I was talking to. I don't think it was you, actually. So I know we did talk about the rumors to season 2, and that they were rumored to be this year, which so far it looks like that's not confirmed based on the panels list. Looks like Tales of the Jedi might be its replacement for a bit. Maybe they'll go back and forth or whatever.
Maybe.
But Tales of the Jedi might be what I was talking to somebody about, where this is the American version of Visions, where you get a lot of non-Japanese studios to work on an anthology in a similar manner as Visions. Because I think what made Visions is that it's Japanese anime companies. And somebody I was talking to was like, well, it would be cool to see other smaller companies outside of Japan. And I was like, yeah, but that's not what Visions is. To me anyways. And I think that's kind of where they're going with Tales of the Jedi. This is the chance for other studios to kind of do that same idea. And that one will be streamed. So that's one where we'll get to see what's going on with that. And that's going to have Amy Ratcliffe as the host and Dave Filoni as a special guest, which makes sense because he's kind of he's the one of the animation creative leads. He's basically an executive producer, but for animation.
All right.
It makes sense. And then we've got a Designing the Mandalorian with Doug Chiang, which that's going to be a art kind of. So that's going to be us, that'd be people getting to see the behind the scenes of like concept art and all that. Because Doug is really good. He's been around since. I know for sure the prequels. I think he's been around even longer. And then we get Marvel Star Wars Comics panel. So it's because the other comics panel didn't have the other, not comics panel, but the other books and stuff panel didn't have Marvel. So this will be strictly Marvel. We got an Anthony Daniels, aka C3PO panel. We got a Del Rey behind the scenes panel. So that's going to be interesting. So it says they're going to focus on Brotherhood, Shadows of the Sith, and Princess and the Scoundrel, which Brotherhood will be coming out. Will have just come out during that week, like the week before or something like that. I think that the Wednesday before, which still no word on if we're getting a copy. No arc. No arc.
No arc.
It's fine. At least give us Shadows of the Sith arc, please. And it says it's going to also focus on some other books that haven't been announced yet. And so that'll be interesting. It's going to have the authors and book editors. And that brings us to the last day, Sunday, where we're going to get Bad Batch Season 2. Yeah, that's something that we've been waiting to hear about, because that got pushed to a unknown date so far. Mm-hmm. So we'll probably finally get a date. And that's going to have D. Bradley Baker, who is all of the clones, and Michelle Ong, who's Omega. And then we got...
It's also going to be streamed.
Yes, that one's going to be streamed. Yep, so that's going to be one to definitely see. And then we got a look back at Visions. So this is, just something that Star Wars Celebration tends to do. They do a look back on stuff, usually, where they're like, oh, last year we did this, and so here's, a retrospective on that, and we can talk about the behind-the-scenes stuff now, which those are always nice. That one's not being streamed. We're getting a Wookiees panel, where we got the current Chewbacca actor, because, the original one, he passed a few years ago. But Junas is the current actor. He's been the actor for most of the sequel films. For 8 and 9, he was all of it, and then 7, he was 50-50, I think. He also got Carrie Jones, who was Chrysanthemum in Book of Boba Fett. And then Charles Soule will be there to talk about your boy Buryaga.
Hope Buryaga's okay. I would like some answers, please.
Yeah, and then they'll have a tribute to Peter Mayhew, the original Chewbacca. Unfortunately, that one's not being streamed. That one I would like to see.
Well, Wookiees are great.
Yeah, Wookiees are great. And then we got a Star Wars The Clone Wars Siege of Mandalore screening. So they're just going to watch the 4-episode arc. That seems like fun. I've been to one of their screenings because they did that with... They used to do that with whenever a show was coming out, they would do a screening of the first episode. And the only celebration I ever went to was the year Rebel Season 4 came out, was coming out, and so they did a screening of the first episode. And so it looks like, so it says they've got Dave Filoni going to be there, Carrie Beck, Athena Portillo, so all the creatives, and executives on the show. And so that would be nice to see, because the Siege of Mandalore is very cinematic. I think that's going to... You haven't seen that yet, so...
I've seen clips. I haven't seen...
So that's going to be fun to watch when we get to it. It's very...
It's this game of... Imagine if you watch everything that happened while being as intoxicated as possible.
Yeah. So
trying to figure out where the pieces go afterwards.
So that one's going to be fun for you to watch. down when we get there, because those 4 episodes are very much like watching a movie. And in fact, so much so that people have edited it with Revenge of the Sith, because it takes place at the same time as Revenge of the Sith is happening. And then they've also there's people that have added Bad Batch season 1 stuff, because there's stuff in season 1, in the first episode in particular, that is also in that same exact moment.
All right.
Let's see. We also got a Creatures of Return of the Jedi panel, which that's interesting because of, we recently talked about Jabba the Hutt in particular, a few weeks back.
Big slug.
Yeah. Well, we talked about the behind the scenes of it. The three guys the 3 guys that operated them. Yeah.
Like eating mints and reading newspapers.
Yeah. Which it looks like that is one of the talking points. Movie monster fans won't want to miss this in-depth exploration of the Return of the Jedi's aliens. Join special guest in Return of the Jedi Creature Master Kirk Thatcher, along with FX artist Tom Spina, Regal Robot and Tom Spina Designs, Amy Ratcliffe, and Jason and Gabe from Blast Point's podcast, as they turn their keen eyes toward the throne room of Jabba the Hutt. And so it looks like it's not just going to be Jabba. They're going to talk about all the strange creatures that are in Return of the Jedi.
There's a lot of weird creatures in Return of the Jedi.
And then the closing ceremony.
Yep.
Which will be streamed, it looks like. Yeah. No, actually, no, it doesn't say streamed. It just says live. Okay. So, yeah. So, there is a lot for sure going on. That sounds like a really jam-packed weekend. I am excited for my friends, but I'm also excited to see the stuff that we'll get to see. As for my friends, please record some of the stuff if you can. If you're going to some of the panels that aren't live, because I would like to see. I especially want to see the Wookiees one, and then what was the other one we mentioned? The High Republic.
Yeah,
Wookiees and High Republic are key ones that I want to see. Wookiees one is more just because who doesn't like a Wookiee? If you don't like a Wookiee, you're a monster.
I'm not gonna call you a monster,
but let's see if there's anything else in the news. I think that's it for major news.
Yeah.
I think it's really just the schedule and Charles Soule being promoted, essentially.
As for why I have apparently joined the Sith, because of the location today, I wore a shirt that was green.
It's okay.
So that's why it looks like I'm joining the dark side.
And so one of the things that is notable on that panel list is there's something very specific that was rumored, but has no appearance whatsoever on the schedule. And I think you know where I'm going with this, because you're looking at that exact same Star Wars News in that article.
The one on the left or the one on the right?
Yeah, and there's only one that's, mentioned Star Wars Celebration in the title of it. There was no Jedi Fallen Order.
It's reportedly not launching until 2023.
And it says, according to the title of this, that it isn't missing Star Wars Celebration because they're still working on it.
Yeah.
Essentially is what it says. I could click the article and actually read it, but it seems that the rumor mill and the speculation, and this is coming from, let's see, Star Wars Newsnet, and what source are they using? Video Game Insider Jeff Grubb. I don't really know him off the top of my head, but I have heard the name. I just can't think of where. But they're waiting to release it on next gen. So, hey, I've already got a PS5. I'm set. High five. Yeah, so I'm set. Same thing with Knights of the Republic remake. I'm set.
Yeah.
And so, according to Jeff Grubb, 2023 is what they're looking at. And that's why they're kind of just only next gen. Probably next gen and PC is probably what we're looking at. Probably. So Jeff Grubb says they were probably targeting 2022 but I guess they just didn't get the targets they wanted. But you know what? I'm fine with that. Honestly, I'd rather wait a little bit for a better game. And you know what? We just played a really good Star Wars game anyways. So I honestly feel like I could play this. It really has a lot of replay value.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that more when we get to the actual review.
In terms of like the Star Wars game, though, I am sated for a while.
Yeah. Same. Like, if Hunters comes out this year, I think I'll be fine. I can wait for another AAA, because Hunters, while it's being made as this big AAA game, it's not being made by somebody I would consider AAA. It's Zynga. You know, the people that made all those Facebook games for a long time. They had like the little dog logo. These guys. Zynga. They made Farmville.
Yeah.
So like, and Words with Friends. So like, not exactly who I would argue is AAA, but this is their big break. So but it is a free game, Hunters. So once again, I might not argue it's AAA because it's only going to be for Switch and mobile devices.
Could work out.
Yeah. Not a AAA game, maybe a AA. But so with that in mind, there's definitely a lot there that can be built up. Where was I? Oh yeah. So yes. So that's why they're not at Celebration this year, from the sounds of it. Let's see. Yeah, because Jeff Grubb. Okay, that's why his name is familiar. He's the one that earlier this year that we reported on, that was the one claiming that it was likely to show up at Celebration, and why it wasn't at EA Play or any of the other like E3 events and all that. Let's see. Here's the direct quote. I said this last week, but then Star Wars Celebration put out their agenda, and it's nowhere on the agenda. They say nothing about Respawn or that game. It's going to be there. It's just not on the agenda. It'll show up there. It'll be a pretty big deal. It's not going to have its own panel. I think that when they did Jedi 1, they had their own panel where they said, okay, let's talk about what this game is going to be. That's not happening this time, but they will be showing off new stuff from the game, and I think probably announcing the game. I guess we'll see. I don't know if that's right, Jeff.
It's like...
Because I feel like...
Even in the
because there's not even a video game panel. Like the only video game related panel is one specifically for Hunters, but there's no like generic video game panel. If there was a generic video game panel, I would say that Jeff might be right.
Not in this instance.
Yeah, I think he's right though, in that we're just not gonna. That it's it's not gonna have a major presence if.
Yeah, probably not.
I mean,
from what I just read, it doesn't sound like it will.
Yeah, I mean, I can agree that 2023 makes sense.
Yeah.
For a release date,
but
which
as
means
of current,
yeah,
I don't expect it to be there.
Which means we'll probably be getting 2 big games in 2023 for Star Wars, because that's when I'm assuming Knights of the Republic is the remake's coming out. I mean, that's my best guess of when that's coming out, based on what we know about it.
For the love of God, don't do it. Don't make me play that game.
What game?
You know the one you just said.
Oh, my best guess of when it's coming out?
No. Keep going.
Knights of the Old Republic?
Yeah, no, don't make me do that.
Oh no, I don't want to play the remake. No, when it comes out, we're playing it.
Yeah.
You know we're playing it. And we're going to get Sawyer on, because I know she's going to play that with us. She better.
We're all just...
I'm going to get onto her tonight about it. If you're not watching right now, Sawyer, if you are watching, I'm challenging you to play that as soon as it gets out. I know you want to anyways. We are playing that. Okay. Oh, the problem is she doesn't have a PlayStation, so.
Damn.
Yeah. She has a Switch.
Hmm.
Anyways,
Oh, great. That means I. Oh, fuck,
you
that means
and
I
me,
have to-
you and me are the only ones that get to enjoy it. Or I guess in your opinion, you will suffer. But
I'll suffer, I guess, if I.
but it's modern RPG though, which you're actually good at. I mean,
Hmm.
versus the classic Knights formula.
We'll see.
I mean, you're good at modern RPGs. I've seen you play Fallout. You can't say you don't know modern RPGs.
No, I don't. I can say it. You're not gonna believe me.
No, I'm not. I've never seen you play Elder Scrolls game though, which is
No.
gonna be probably closer to what Knights is gonna be.
Probably.
But Fallout and Elder Scrolls aren't too far off from each other.
They're made
I mean, it's the same
by
engine.
the same people.
But like in terms of like slight mechanical things, they're slightly different,
Slightly different.
but not enough.
But in terms of like
Overall
choices,
gameplay
they're
and in terms of overall gameplay, they're not.
yeah, no.
And it's the same engine. Anyways, that is all I could find of Star Wars news. So let us jump into our review, which is Lego Star Wars: The Skywalker Saga, which we finished. Well, you finished
Yep.
this morning.
Yeah.
Well, not even this morning, like an hour ago
We
at this point.
started this morning. At
Yeah.
8.
At
and
8.
we finished at like what, 2:00?
Yeah. So let me pull up some notes I made.
Oh, you made notes.
Yeah, because I have some complaints.
Yeah.
They're minor complaints. They are very minor complaints in the grand scheme of it, you know.
Mm.
Like there's stuff that is actually bad, and then there's stuff that's just this where I can still like the game a lot, which I do. I think. You know what? Let's go from your perspective first while I look at my notes, and you can kind of talk about your journey playing it. All right. So go ahead and kind of give your journey of the game.
I've never really been one for like an extreme amount of collectibles. So they're not bad. They're just something I'm not very interested in the games. I do like that some of its environments are open world, but in some cases they're like a little bit too open.
Mm-hmm.
The space travel is fine. I don't really have anything bad to say about that. Some of the levels from the other games, I'm just glad that they took them out. Because they were really frustrating.
Do you want to give some examples?
For example, the Complete Saga, the run on the first Death Star, and the one on the sixth Death Star. I'm glad those are gone, because those were hard. Unnecessarily so.
Yeah. I would also put, even though I know some people that would disagree with me because I've discussed it in Discord before, I am kind of glad that the Attack of the Clones gunship level is gone.
Yeah. Thank God.
But so I think one of the things we can point out about this game in the positives is that
it does know what it's doing with the flight levels.
I was about to say, one of the things we can throw out in the positives is that this isn't just another version of the Complete Saga.
Yeah.
Because what the Complete Saga was, all right, we have all these levels, let's just put them into one game, add a new hub world, and then that's it, right?
Yeah.
That's what they did with the Complete Saga. Mm-hmm. They took Lego Star Wars, the video game, and Lego Star Wars 2, the original saga, and said,
yep.
They added a couple new levels, which aren't really new levels. They were levels that were cut from the game initially, and then added them, and then that was it, really, for Complete Saga.
Yep.
And they could have easily done that and got away with it in this game, right? Because they could have easily gone, here's those 6 levels again, or 6 movies again with those 6 levels each, right? Here's a base hub world, and then here's 6, 12, 18 new levels. Well, not even. They could just add the Force Awakens levels that already exist from Lego The Force Awakens. Because that Force Awakens got a Lego tie-in before this came out. So they could have just gone, here's the Lego Force Awakens games as well, and levels as well, and then just created new levels for 8 and 9. Bing, boom, call it a day, right?
No, they didn't do that.
But they didn't do that. And you gotta admire that.
Yeah. They made new levels.
from the ground up.
Yeah.
They just said we're just remaking the game from the ground up.
I also
so much so to the fact they've created a brand new engine for this game.
Yeah.
Which a positive and a negative.
Yeah. It has its moments.
It's not even on a gameplay end. I'm talking the negative is more on the. It's a positive and negative on the studio end and developer end, because the developers of TT Games did talk about how there was a lot of pressure and a lot of there was some crunch behind this game, which is why it did get that one push that we got, because we did get one it did get one bump in release, and that it makes sense. You're working with a brand new engine that you made just for this game.
That makes things a little bit difficult.
Yeah. Whereas TT Games the development team asked the executives, "Hey, why aren't we just using I forget which engine it is, but it's one of the not Unreal, but the other one.
Unity?
No, it was Unreal. Yeah, they were like, why aren't we just using Unreal, like literally every other game, especially when it's such an easy engine to use."
They're like, no, we'll do it better and differently.
We'll create our own engine. Which, while I do feel bad for the developers on that, I think in the long term, it's going to work out for them, because we also have to look at this from the discussion of this isn't the only Lego game. Sorry, this isn't the only Lego game that's going to be using this engine.
Yeah.
I mean, we're going to start seeing new Lego Marvel games, probably another new Lego DC game. And whatever franchise properties they happen to get tie-ins for. Hi there. We have a little guest. No, you didn't get him. Oh well. I don't know if he had an opinion on this.
Well, he doesn't now.
But I mean, all these tie-in franchises that TT Games will team up with, that just saves them a headache for probably the next decade.
Probably.
I would argue that this engine could be good for the next decade. Because honestly, you don't need to update engines as often as you used to. You used to have to update them every other game. Now you can probably use the same engine for a while, because, especially for a Lego game where it's cartoony and you're not looking for realistic graphics, so there's wiggle room. You were gonna say, I'm sorry.
They did change up how the combat works.
Yes. They added
do combos with droids.
Yeah, you can do combos. Yes. That has created some great moments, which unfortunately, if you didn't watch our Twitch streams, we've lost some of the footage. So because I was not able, I forgot to download part 1. Which is unfortunate. I thought I did, but I guess I didn't.
And
I think the closest thing in my footage banks that I could find of it, it's bad. Yeah. It's corrupt, which means I think that might have been it, but either way, it's gone, because Twitch, VODs, they expire.
Yeah. The other thing that they also changed, like their cover mechanics.
Yeah, they had cover mechanics. There's our friend. Got him.
Yeah. I don't recall if you could. They increased how disguises work.
Yeah. Yes, because the old days of at least Lego Star Wars, you would just put on the helmet or whatever, and they call it a day.
Yep. Now they're like, no, you have to get the full set.
Yep.
Otherwise, they'll just know anyway.
Yep.
Another cool thing. You can dodge.
Mm-hmm. You can dodge. You can lightsaber throw.
Yep.
You can block.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's an actual block button.
Yep.
Like, it used to be, to block, the only thing you could really block was blaster bolts, and to do that, you would have to use the swing button and hope you timed it perfectly to block the blaster shot. Now it
does it.
Now it either does it, for the most part, it does it automatically. But if you want if you want it to specifically hit somebody, there's an actual button specifically for blocking.
Something that I noticed, if during the boss fights, if you time it right for like thrusts and other things, you will actually heal back up to full.
Yes. They got rid of the heart mechanic for the most part. The heart there are hearts in the
Yeah.
game, but it's more because
But those are actually rarer.
well, it's also because you don't need them as much
Yeah.
because the way they set it up is basically the initial health is really more like a shield.
Yeah.
And when it goes down, you lose a heart. And then I think you start with 2, but as you since you didn't play with the upgrade mechanics,
No. They're there. I think I only got the one for running and maybe the magnet one.
yeah, I think you got the first magnet one, and that was it.
Yeah.
We called it a day. But there's also like for hearts, so you can upgrade how many hearts you have. At the end of it, you can have like 5, so like 3 to 5, something like that. And so like yeah, and so like that means like your health bar is like pretty strong at that point.
I'm still, unfortunately, bad at puzzles.
You're getting better at flying.
Yeah, better at flying. Might be getting worse at puzzles. I had to take points away from that skill.
That's okay. Is it because, and is that just because you were bad at them, not because they were bad puzzles?
I think it's because I was bad at them, not that they were bad puzzles.
Yeah, I was about to say, the puzzles aren't terrible. I think they're actually pretty good.
Yeah.
And I think most kids can figure them
Like,
out.
eventually,
I don't think they're to the point where a kid is going to spend an hour on them, but maybe 15, 20 minutes. If it's like a kid that's like a little bit younger than, let's see, it says 10 and up. So, I mean, if you're a little bit younger and you decide to play it, because let's be honest, you're probably going to be a little bit younger than, I mean, you might be 9 and you decide, oh, I like Star Wars.
Yeah.
And it's a good game for like a parent and child to play. So I did find my notes.
Yeah.
So my minor issues come down to online multiplayer would have been nice. I get why. So I am also really happy that they took the time to put in co-op, like old school co-op. I do like that. That's great. But also we're in a time where multiplayer co-op is probably a good thing to have.
Yeah.
Just because that's the way a lot of gaming is now, and also especially with the way that the world is right now, it's a little harder to get your friends to. And the closest thing we get to that is with Steam. You can do the game sharing program or whatever it's called. But from what I've heard from people that have used it, which we didn't get a chance to test it, so I can't give it my own opinion right now. Although Ethan wants to test it, I think. Because Ethan said he wanted to play it. But he hasn't got the game yet. And so, excuse me. From what I heard, though, there is a bit of lag. Because, you're basically streaming it to the other person's computer. So there's a little bit of lag there on that end. The other thing is the ability to turn off the auto aim on boss fights. That would have been nice.
Yeah.
Like it's very. Don't get me wrong. The auto aim is good. It is nice. But when I want to do something other than look directly at the boss, I can't.
It's hard.
And it sometimes gets in the way because of that.
Yeah.
And the camera throughout the game can be like that sometimes. Like there's certain points where it will force you into a top-down perspective, and you're like, no, I want to be able to look at the game the way I was, because that now on my platform, you're messing me up. Because there's certain platforming moments where that happens. Somebody I talked to said they thought there was an option for that, but no. What they thought was that is actually the ability is one of the it's one of the accessibility features, which is that you don't have to hold down the trigger to aim.
Yeah.
You can just tap it and it'll keep it in aim until you tap it again. Which I do like that more and more games are having really good accessibility features like that. I don't personally need them, but it's nice that they exist for people who do. Plus, sometimes your trigger finger does get tired, so you just want to go. Especially in a game like this where there's a lot of buttons that you have to kind of sometimes hit at the same time. It's no Elden Ring in that level of it, but it's there's still a lot of buttons that you sometimes have to hit at the same time. Um, there's also a few other accessibilities that are nice. We didn't play with them though.
Yeah.
You can if you really hate button mashing and QuickTime events, you can auto resolve those.
I don't mind the like mashing in QuickTime events, but
Usually in a replay, like if they ever add like a new game plus mode of some sort, that's when I would turn on.
Yeah, you're like
I don't want to do this again. That's what I did with Spider-Man. I did the QuickTime events the first time, and then I was like, oh,
like never again.
I was like, oh, new game plus, nah, I'm good.
Oh man.
And then what else?
Meanwhile, I'm over here like never doing that, being like, you gotta mash the damn button.
Yeah, and so overall though, the game is really good. I would argue. The story, it tells the story in a way that works really well.
Yeah.
I mean, it's Lego, so I mean, you like Star Wars, you like Lego Star Wars. You're getting what you're basically getting what you're paying for.
The I remember several like incidents of I want to talk about like the fucking struggles we had to go through.
Okay, yeah, let's talk. So let's talk about. So I brought a PS5 copy, but that's not what we played together.
No.
That's what I played by myself. We played
PC.
We played the PC version. PC.
Man,
it crashed a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And apparently crashing is a very common issue with this game. Because, it was very easy to find a lot of crash solutions online because there were a lot of people that were like, yeah, this game just crashes.
Yep. I think our first one...
Our first gameplay didn't crash.
No. You did, during the pod race, have a weird moment where you got stuck.
Yeah, but we didn't crash.
We didn't crash.
Second...
Until, like...
It was the second gameplay where we had our first crashes.
Yeah, and I think that was during the,
Actually...
Fett ship crash?
Yes. Yes, because you had to replay
replay that level.
Yeah. Because we just finished the level, but it didn't save. So you had to replay the Django chase. And then the third time, it crashed a lot. Maybe like 3 times.
Yeah.
I had to do I did a verify the integrity of the files check, and that solved it.
It was after we got done with the third film, and we were at the where they're planning to like blow up the Death Star for the first time.
Yeah.
It crashed like
we were
times.
Yeah, we were in A New Hope, so
yeah.
It didn't crash for the rest of that stream though. After I verified the integrity, I didn't have to do a restart that time, but I just verified the integrity, and that's what fixed it. Which I guess the files just keep getting corrupted because today same thing happened.
Yeah.
And it crashed like 7 times, and it got worse and worse. Like we were playing the beginning of The Force Awakens. We got through. So the first crash didn't happen until as we were
at like the
end of the Lor San Tekka stuff.
Yeah.
So like you were captured by Kylo, and
then it just
crashed
went backwards.
And then it crashed. And then as we tried to fix it each time, it got worse and worse to the point like we couldn't even start running in that level yet anymore. And so then I was like, okay, well, we'll verify the integrity again, and this time I'll do a restart, and that solved it. Actually, last time it wasn't just the verify; it's because I also had to upgrade my graphics card, which is what the internet told me was an issue. Sometimes is if you don't immediately upgrade your graphics card, this game will say fuck you.
You're not allowed.
But yeah, this time all it took was a integrity check. And then a reset, which that's not one of the solutions that was presented. The other ones were more stuff of messing with the graphics card, which did nothing. In fact, it got worse as I did that. It was like, I've downgraded. I went from really high resolution to the lowest settings on this game, yet somehow it's crashing sooner. It never crashed on the title screen though, which is what a lot of complaints were as well.
Yeah. Ray needs to know her place in all of this.
Well, she found it.
Eventually.
We found it for her.
Found it eventually.
Meanwhile, on the PS5, the only time it crashes is when I do things that are actually breaking on purpose, such as having more than 2 people in your party active. That's the only time it crashes on the PlayStation.
We also decided that anytime Luke was on screen, he was from the Bayou.
Yeah, well, you decided.
I decided that. And Ray is...
So I guess we can talk a little bit more on the stuff that I experienced by myself.
Yeah.
Because I'm going for 100%. I'm going for a platinum trophy. I have not platinumed it yet, but I'm pretty close. So, as far as content outside the main game goes, I think it's really good content. There's side quests.
Yeah,
and you can,
I know there's side quests. I think you
played one.
I played one, but that's because the story told me to.
Yeah, and so like the way the side quests work is you'll go up to NPC whoever or well-known character whoever that you can get later by doing said side quests, because that's how you can unlock some of the characters is by doing their side quests. And you'll talk to them. They'll say, "Hey, here's." And they'll go like in universe for like while you're doing this, so it keeps it within the universe. Like there's one where as a bounty hunter you're on Coruscant and you talk to Jocasta Nu, who's like, "Hey, the holocrons were stolen. I need you to go get it." And you have to be specifically a bounty hunter for that one, because certain quests require you to be certain classes. So you have to be a bounty hunter for that one, and you track down a bounty hunter and. I guess I'll give a little bit of spoiler for that one. It ends up being Aura Singh that you were tracking down, and that's how you can recruit Aura Singh later, is by completing that. Actually, I think that's how you get Jocasta. Yeah, that's how you get Jocasta. But it unlocks another side quest later where Aura Singh is like, "Hey, I remember you. You want to work together?" And you might be a different bounty hunter character, but because it's the same player character.
Yeah.
They're like, "I remember you," and some of them are really funny. There's one on Camino where they decide, you know what? So Jango Fett's dead, so now we need a new source of our clones. So they test out this species that's from Dakar. No, from Yavin. And you get that side quest by completing one on Yavin, and so basically it's like, oh yeah, these creatures would make great for our cloning process. Can you get them? And so you do, and then like afterwards they're like, oh no, it turned out bad. Now they've rioted, and now that we have a clone army of them, they've started like attacking all the base of Camino, and so you and Barris have to fight them off. And like it's funny though, because it's like, oh, these things aren't even human. Why are you they aren't like an actual alien species. They're literally like an animal species that you just decided to clone and make a clone army out of. Like, of course they turned on us.
Why would this not happen?
But it's funny, and so there's a lot there. And so yeah, I think it's fun for that. And then of course, if you're a collectible junkie, this game definitely has your fill of it. You've got your Kyber bricks, you got your data cards, which we didn't even play with that in your play.
No.
The data cards is where you get all the cool, fun stuff. So if you remember all the little extras that you can get, and like usually it's red bricks that unlock them in the older games. So the red bricks would get you the extras where you could have like the mustache or all that stuff.
Did complete one of the mini kits, not on purpose though.
Yeah,
it was circumstantial.
But... Yeah, we did a few mini kits successfully. I know we got the Death Star one, the baby Death Star.
Yeah.
But there's a few mini kits that you'll just get because they're not hard.
Yeah.
But you can also get hints as to regards of that, like to where all the mini kits are and how to, and also how to do all the side, like, because each mission, each main mission, I should say, has like, their side quests, things that you can do while in them. So like, spinning, that's a cool trick for the Anakin's, for episode 1, where you're playing as Anakin attacking the Trade Federation battleship. Where you have to spin at the right time, and that's
There's also a droid named Hint.
Yeah, there's a
That
droid.
is very insistent about wanting to give you hints that I completely ignore.
Well, he gives you the same hints that like you can, because you can access that. Those are the hints I'm talking about, but you can also access them from your little computer thing that you pull up all the time.
See.
So like you can talk to him or you don't. What I find great about Hint is that he's just aggressive and does not like that he has to do this job, but he does it and they make that part of his personality. He's just like, he'll do it because it's in his programming, but he won't do it with a smile. I like Hint. Hint's great.
Droids.
And then
Where's the galaxy coming to?
But yeah, in that same vein, yeah, going back to extras, there's some fun extras, and then there's some useful extras. So you got your multipliers for your studs, which becomes a lot. It's over 3,000 or something like that by the end of it.
It's a lot.
Yeah, because all the multipliers stack on top of each other, and so because I've gotten all the data card stuff done, I've gotten all the extras, and then you've got more funny ones like Galaxy Rave, where it's just a rave throughout whenever you're in free play. Yeah. When you're in free play, it just plays music. That's different. And then there's also, you can change it to Cantina music instead. But if it's the Galaxy Rave, everybody starts dancing. And so like your character will start dancing if you stop moving, but also your buddy will, if it's just you playing, they'll be dancing, which means you have to switch to them if you need them to do something because they're distracted. But it also means the enemies are distracted because they're dancing. And then, of course, you got rainbow blaster shots. You got my favorite, the pew-pew, which is even better. Effect is not just for the lights, for the blasters. They also do the lightsaber. Vroom, vroom, vroom. So it's great. And then of course you got baguette lightsaber. So your lightsaber's a baguette. Your lightsaber is not French. Baguette. You got one that turns everybody into gonk droids. So all the NPCs become gonk droids. You've got one where you get a gonk droid companion who's invincible. And you can ride them around because you can ride the gonk droids around in this game. So this one you can ride around as your companion, and so he's like on top of your companion that you've already got that you can actually switch to, because you can't play as the gonk droid, but you can ride him, and he's got like a mustache and a monocle, and then you've got a Porg companion you can get. Which you can have the Porg and Gonk companion out at the same time. Which the Porg companion will actually attack people. So the Porg fights with you.
I see.
I broke Return of the Jedi because of that. In my gameplay. Because it turns out if you have the Porg and Gonk droid out during the fight with Palpatine at the end of Return of the Jedi, so you know how you do the 3 segments of fighting Palpatine. Palpatine shoots lightning at you.
Yeah.
On the 3rd segment, he jumps down, right?
Yes.
Palpatine wouldn't jump down.
He's like, I can see that Porg. It's fucking waiting for me.
That Porg and Gonk droid, they're too much for me. Because I did look it up afterwards, and because I couldn't even switch characters, I was stuck. That's whoever I was, and I couldn't do anything, and I couldn't get Palpatine to come down. I was like, why is he not attacking me again? Why is he just standing there? And I looked
like, if I stay up here, they'll lose.
And like I'd restart the level, not knowing what was going on. And then I looked it up, and somewhere on Reddit or somewhere I found that they were like, yeah, it turns out that if the Porg or Gonk Droid or both of them are out, then he won't fight you. So you got to turn them off before you start the level. That way you can finish that fight. So it is now within my headcanon that Palpatine is afraid of Porgs and Gonk Droids.
Yeah. People are over here.
Which Gonkatine is now a thing within Sawyer's server. Sorry for that, Sawyer.
And there's C-3PO is like drop kicking Anakin. It's
Because I played as C-3PO in your gameplay and during the fight. Since all player 2 is able to do is be the droids. I mean, and the droids can fight. You just play a C-3PO, run up on Anakin, and start smacking him and kicking him. And
it's like a very dramatic duel. However, that dramaticism is ruined when you see a gold droid fan punching the fucking upcoming Lord of Darkness in the back of the head.
Not even properly punching, just smacking.
Yeah.
And then that's what drops his health to the finishing blow too. Which we did that happened again today with one of the Kylo fights, right?
Yeah, I think so.
I was
I think you were BB-8.
I was BB-8.
Yeah,
it was during the fight with him on Kef Bir.
Yeah.
On the Death Star 2 wreckage.
God, your fucking traps, man. They were fucking me up more than he was.
You're supposed to lure him into the traps, not to let him lure you.
The problem is they're just kicking his ass too much.
It is so. Yeah. It's funny just running up on the Dark Lords of the Sith or the Knights of Ren and going bam, 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 as a droid.
Yeah.
It's just too much fun. Don't change that. That's perfect. I love it.
No. Look at one clone trooper in the Clone Wars. Just fucking sucks and true. A battle droid.
But yeah, so I think we can agree that this is a really good game.
Yeah, it's good.
It has problems.
I
think it has mostly problems with its PC port.
Yeah.
In terms of gameplay, in terms of in terms of the actual is the stuff that matters.
It
does
a great job.
Yeah, I'd say 8.5 to 9 out of 10.
It works amazing.
In fact, it's honestly, because of the combat and stuff, it's honestly almost too good for a Lego game.
Yeah, almost too good.
Like this is the kind of mechanics that I would see in an actual regular Star Wars game.
Yeah. But
of course, but
game
yeah.
When the game fucking works.
Yeah. I would definitely say I hope that some of the PC stuff can be worked out a little bit more. So a few more updates to kind of tweak it. We still have, I think, one more batch of character DLC coming out left, which the next set is the Mando Season 2 and Bad Batch DLC. Which Mando Season 2 is going to have Ahsoka. I think they're adding Moff Gideon in that set.
I remember during the course of the game, you showed me a video where it was goal oriented versus messing around. And the conclusion
is we're both goal oriented. Just two different types of goals.
Yeah.
I'm very much, I want to do everything and everything, and you're like, I just want to play the story.
I just gotta get through the story mode.
And then of course, on top of it having good mechanics, it's good fun. It's very funny. It's exactly what you want in a Lego story.
Yeah.
They're very much here's the jokes, and that's what you came here for. Came here to get Star Wars story, but told in a funnier format.
Yep.
And that's what we got.
That's what we got.
All right. So where would you put it?
You know what? I'm still bitter about the crashing, so
probably a 7.
So I was going to
Are you hurting it that much?
just no. I'll give it an 8.
Yeah, I want to give it an 8, and then I'd say if I was purely judging this on the PC port, I would drop it probably.
Yeah, I'd drop it pretty harshly.
I'd
3.
I wouldn't drop it that far because I think I had enough fun that it
Yeah,
outweighed it.
Maybe a 5.
I'd probably put it around 6 or 7.
No, 5.
But because we had a lot of fun with it
Yeah.
at the end of the day, and because I played the PS5 version, and it kind of proves that it's not it's the game, but it's not the game. It's the version of the game.
Yeah.
So yeah, I feel confident with the 8
The
and
game
a
is
half.
great when it works. It
All
just
right.
takes a while to get there.
So next time,
Yeah. More reading.
but only 4 issues.
Oh. Okay.
It's only 4 issue comic series. We're back in the High Republic era.
Yeah.
We're gonna meet a new character.
Mm.
It's the High Republic Adventures, the Monster of Temple Peak. Unfortunately, there is no trade paperback version, so it's just these. Which I'm glad I've ordered them now. Now that I know that no trade paperback version is coming out. At least anytime soon. Because I recently learned, and I talked to you about it, but I haven't talked to the audience. I recently learned that in the process of Dark Horse getting to do comics, IDW lost their license, which means that High Republic Adventures and Star Wars Adventures are basically dead at the moment.
They're gone.
Unless Dark Horse decides to revive them, which means High Republic Adventures Volume 3 isn't coming out as a trade paperback. So that we're going to have to, that one's going to be the individual issues like this. High Republic Adventures Monster of Temple Peak's not getting one. I think there was and then of course the regular Star Wars Adventures stuff isn't either. So I think they only published 1 volume of the 2020 run of High Republic of Star Wars Adventures, I should say. But more than likely, Dark Horse will do reprints of these down the line. It's just probably not at the top of their priorities.
Probably not.
Probably top of their priorities. Well, we know that the number one thing on their priority, it's what's been on my wish list for a while, which is the Rebels comic from the Rebels magazine being published officially and being localized. Because that was only in the UK initially, and then eventually they stopped even being in the UK, which means you couldn't even read the comics in English. They were only in German. But now it's being localized, which is one of my things with Star Wars. I think Star Wars should be localized to everywhere. I think no matter where you're from, no matter where the creator of whatever Star Wars product is from, it should always get localized to everywhere. Yeah. Especially if it's canon material. I think canon material should be available to anybody who wants to read it or watch it or whatever, or play it or whatever. So one of my complaints also with one of the stories we're going to get to for the High Republic this season, the Vow of what is it called? Vow of something Dawn. Vow of Silver Dawn. It's Chinese written, but there is no localization.
I see.
Yeah.
That may
there
some difficulty.
Well, currently, the way that I'm managing to get it for the show is that Reddit has been hard at work at translating it. So there are fan translations, which is what we'll probably end up using, since more than likely we still won't have a English localized version of it, even though it's done. Like it's one of the it's one of, I don't know if you know a lot about like Japanese or Chinese how they do a lot of their like books sometimes. They release them on the internet, and they release them kind of like, no, in the old days you would just release certain chapters of your story.
Yeah.
Like, that's how we got a lot of
Nice.
like Edgar Allan Poe and stuff. They released them as novellas, and usually the novellas would be split into like 20 different like publications.
Yeah.
That's basically how they do it, but online. So they just go. It's kind of like webtoons, but for books.
Okay. Yeah.
So you read a little bit of it, but you're paying like a monthly fee, to have access to these books. Then they publish the next section whenever they get it done, and so on and so forth. But so that's how.
Do you use Webtoon?
I read a little bit of webtoons
every now and then.
Every now and then. It's been a while.
I've been keeping up consistently with like 2 or 3 different series over the course of a couple of years. I haven't had to pay anything for it.
No.
But if you want newest thing,
yeah,
you have to pay for it.
Or yeah, I think you can also like support certain creators by doing that too. Like if you want to support your specific creator that you like, you can donate to them, sort of thing. My main ones are Dust Interactive, Safely Endangered, My Dictator Boyfriend. Those are the ones I tend to read. And then, of course, friend of the show, Scotty White, who is in charge of Mopcast Network. He's got his own series on webtoons. I guess since we're talking about webtoons, we can do a little shout out.
Yeah.
He does Chronicles of Limbo, which is a fantasy story with Dampiers and that are 300 years old, and a cosmic toddler. So that's the best way to talk about it without giving away spoilers. But it's a good time. A lot of feels. You also get a lot of culture stuff out of it because Scotty draws from his own culture in the story. And for those of y'all who have not seen him on the show, he's been on the show a couple times. He is Native American, so you get a little bit of Native American culture in the story. So a little bit of interesting diversity there with that, because I think that's the type of culture that we're getting more exploration of.
Yeah.
Especially in Star Wars with the Tuskens. But also we don't get a lot of representation of that in terms of people that are actually native writing it.
We don't.
So that's what makes Chronicles of Limbo interesting. So that was a little shout out to our friend, because he usually is the one that provides us the space. And even though we are not there today, it is still nice to, give him a little shout out. I think that's all for this week.
Yeah. I'm sorry I haven't been as energetic.
No. Yeah, we got up early today. It was an early day for us, but I think we we had a good time. I think we were energetic enough. If you don't think so, you can say so in the comments.
Yeah.
But that would mean you'd have to comment, which would be nice. Either way, we get your comment. Your even bad comments count towards comments. Which brings us to our ending. Thank you guys for watching. Be sure to, if you're watching on YouTube, which is youtube.com/Escape Reality Films, like and subscribe to the channel. Leave a comment if you like. If you're watching on Twitch, which is twitch.tv/CJ Star Wars 94, be sure to follow or subscribe. Subscribing definitely helps. It's also how you can watch whenever we do stuff like where we played Lego Star Wars. you would have been able to watch it. Now the first episode of that is lost forever.
It's gone.
I'll
coming back.
Yeah, it's not coming back. I'm probably not gonna play it again once I platinum it. Like while I've enjoyed it, I think the discussion that we've come to is that this, I think this satisfies my Star Wars gaming need for a little bit, especially once I platinum it.
Yeah.
I might go back to the Old Republic though for a bit. Like that's a different type of Star Wars gaming though. That's MMO type gameplay versus actual story sitting down.
That's MMORPG as opposed to
like an actual single player
yeah.
format. Also, another way to support us is we have a Patreon, which is patreon.com/Escape Reality Films. The first tier gets you access to the Discord where you can hang out with us. We share what we're reading. We talk about what we're reading. So if you have thoughts on the Monster of Temple Peak, you can talk about them with us. We do allow for spoiler chat a little bit. You just have to use the spoiler tag. We also are working on movie nights still. We've yet to have our first movie night just because schedules, but eventually we're just going to drop it and have it happen. And then further tiers get you access to my novels, which I've written the book Superworlds, which is a sci-fi superhero story. So if you like that type of stuff, Star Wars meets a Marvel film, essentially.
Yeah.
And then you've also got my short story collection, The Coat Wars, which is set in the same universe and tells side stories of those characters. So if you like Superworlds and you want a little background on some of your favorite characters, that's where you go. And then we also got my third book, Time Ninja, which is fantasy, sci-fi, Highlander meets a time travel story with some Japanese culture in it. So that type of idea.
Yeah.
And I know as for things that are on the way, I actually just before I picked you up this morning, I was talking to somebody, and this is something that we haven't confirmed yet because I got to start sending him stuff first.
Mm-hmm.
But it sounds like we're gonna do this. Superworlds is being made into a comic.
All right.
I'm not going to go too much further into it, but I did find an artist. I talked to him about the pay. All we got to do really is we got to work on. He mentioned his backgrounds is like that's not really his best subject.
Yeah.
That's something we can work on because I don't expect the first issue to come out this year. But it is something that's been a long-term goal of mine to do a comic adaptation of it. And then, of course, the audiobook version is on its way. That is something that's being made as we speak. And so, a lot of stuff happening. So, I mean, a lot of original stuff and hopefully more.
Yeah.
And, of course, more Star Wars, as always, because that's what we love. I mean, we were talking about it a couple days ago. If we didn't enjoy doing this, we wouldn't. We just wouldn't. Because that's the thing, because he likes to joke about, how much he doesn't like certain things, but at the end of the day, at the end of it, I'm like, but you would know it because I know him, I'm like, you would just tell me to fuck off if you didn't want to do this.
And, I explained to you what, my real concern about it was...
Yeah.
About how, scheduling...
Yeah, it's scheduling. And we're willing. I'm willing to work around that. And that's also the reason why we hope that you guys will support us.
Yeah.
Is because a little bit of money here and there, if you give us $1 and enough people give us $1, that can add up to my paycheck, to where I can do this full time, and then if that continues to add up, that can equal a paycheck for him where he can do this full time, and then we're just having fun full time.
Yeah. And
you guys are having fun, and everybody wins. And that's kind of the dream. I guess that's the dream for any content creator, but
ideal, right?
That's the dream for any content creator.
You know what I kind of want to do? I want to go and have another kind of revisit the super universe, but
Yeah, the RPG.
yeah,
Yeah, I know. So one,
I need to not. I need to quit making stupid decisions in that.
well, that goes actually into our comic book announcement. That basically, I plan to use a lot of the art that gets used in that as assets for the RPG book once, because the RPG is written.
Yeah.
The rules are written. I'm not really going to change them at this point. They fit what I think works as a balanced system. And if not, if there's still a lot of brokenness to it, even after publishing it, that's what erratas are for, and that's what second editions are for.
Yeah.
But erratas, more seriously, like I wouldn't do a second edition. I'd probably just do an errata and be like, "Here's a small update, free update. There you go," and like it'd be like a patch. And that's kind of like, because that's what a lot of major RPG companies do is they just release an errata. They just go, here's a small little update. Read these little patch notes essentially.
Yeah.
And
then go back to doing it.
Or just play it the way you like anyways.
Yeah.
Maybe you like the way that
or
it was
just
written.
Ignore what we
Yeah. Ignore that we fixed some of the power scaling or whatever. Just play it the way you have already because you like it. I mean,
Yeah.
but really the only thing missing is art.
Yeah, that's about it.
And so like this comic book, I'm probably going to use a lot of the art so that way because I'm paying him not just, he at the end of the day, this artist is going to get $1,400 per issue. But that's because he's getting paid per page.
Yeah.
Which is standard. You get a standard per page pay, and then at least if you're independent, like if you're working for like a Marvel or a DC, then you're talking about being on a payroll where you're working certain hours. But in this case, it's very much if you're independent, you're paying for per page.
Yeah.
And so that's what we're kind of looking at, and that's honestly still on the cheap end, but it's also how much Scotty pays his art. Like, because I talked to Scotty about it, and he was like, "Yeah, that's generally about the price that you're looking at for his art anyway." For Chronicles of Limbo, so that's where I'm kind of got my idea of how much I want to pay artists on that end. And honestly, if my current artist still needs help with backgrounds, and you are a background artist and you don't mind the sound of how much the pay is, drop a line. Plus there's other projects besides Super Worlds that I want to do. I would like artists for some other stuff. There's some stuff where I'm willing to pay you, but it wouldn't be... You would be able to be paid, but I wouldn't be able to make money off of it. Because there's certain projects that are fan projects that I want to do regarding Star Wars. Because I do want to do some fan projects, but they... obviously, they would be nonprofit. They would be for fun. They would be to show off what kind of stuff we can do on the channel. It would be the kind of stuff that, draws interest.
Yeah.
And there's certain things I've always wanted to do, but never had the time or the talent. So, if you are interested, you can reach out to us at escaperealityfilms@gmail.com. That's our official email. That's where you can, and you can email us for just about anything there. It's not just for business, those type of business inquiries. It is for business inquiries mostly though. But out like in terms of like non-business strictly inquiries, I'm talking like, say you want to be a guest on the show and I haven't invited you yet, and you know me, or you don't know me personally yet, and you're like within the Star Wars content creator community. That's how you can reach us and be like, hey, I would like to be on the show, and we'll send you a schedule, because that's how we kind of do it. We send everybody that we're inviting the schedule. We tell them, hey, these are the episodes for the season. What interests you?
Yeah.
And so far we've got a good list because of that, but there's a lot of episodes where we don't have guests. yet. But we've got some good guests coming up over the rest of the season. Our next guest isn't until Brotherhood. So far. Yeah, so mid next month, because it's also crazy to think that the next month starts tomorrow.
Oh yeah, shit. That's right.
So yeah. So we're coming up on it. That's when our next guest is. So far. But we also have 3 guests for Shadows of the Sith. We also got a guest for Princess and the Scoundrel. We got a guest for the Kenobi show. I think that's it. Let me check, because I mean, and the thing is, I love all these guests. Like, all these people that are coming up, I am happy to have them because I love all of their content. And a lot of them I'm friends with, and I enjoy being their friends. And so, like, it's great. Star Wars community is great when you find the right part of it. This is gonna be the last thing I say before we close out, because we are running the meter a little bit on that. The Star Wars content creator community and the Star Wars community at large has its toxic moments, and in fact, there's one infamously that involves this game that happened the week it came out, and it involved the same week as when Queen's Hope came out, and we talked about the Queen's Hope one a little bit, but we have our moments of bad and toxic, but to kind of quote Lando and it's a quote that one of our guests, Star Wars lawyer Chris, likes to throw out a lot, and it's become kind of the mantra to this side of Star Wars content creators. There are more of us. There's more of us that are good and want to just embrace people in the fandom. And I get a little emotional on it because, I didn't think I'd be this far in content creation. I didn't think I'd be on TikTok, like, making videos, and the last main one. I didn't think I'd ever hit like 1,000 views on a video. That was just me rambling about my ideas on Kreia, for example.
That old bag.
So I didn't think that would ever happen, but and I haven't.
Is it too harsh to call Kreia an old bag?
A little bit.
Didn't she try and? No.
I mean, she did try to kill you, but that was after you tried to. I mean, it was as you tried to kill her. To be fair, but she was also evil. To also be fair. But yeah, I didn't think I'd get 1,000 views. Like, I also don't have a high follower count, but the people that do follow me and the people within the Star Wars content creator community are so good that they follow you anyways, or they like your videos even if they're not following you. And I've definitely felt welcomed in the community. And so, so that's why I say there's that, while we may have our toxic moments, like Chris says and like Lando says, there are more of us. And I think that's important to remember. I don't know why I felt the need to talk about that today, but I just did. So yeah. I've spoken. You got nothing still? Go ahead and say what you're going to say. Do it.
I have nothing.
Okay. I guess that's going to be your slogan.
I have nothing. I am one now.
I've spoken. See you guys next time.